to the comic shop. I'll let you read about Cyclops. I'll have you spending all you got. Jawbreakers is looking hot. Zach.
All right, one more time around the bend. Here we go. Big Legit back here to talk to you about more amazing comic books that you can share with kids and young adults alike. Today, Youngblood, #1. Can you believe that this comic book has sold more than 1 million copies? 1 million copies. This is the second printing, you'll notice. The difference is this gold banner around the outside edge. This comic book is by Rob Liefeld. It is the very first comic put out by Image Comics. And I think it blew people's mind, you know. You had Rob's art. And this is the old style of paper, not the glossy. And you know, looking at it now, this art is not, it's a little subpar, to be honest. A little subpar. Youngblood debuted in a backup story in Megaton Explosion #1, which was a one-shot from way back in 1987. And their next appearance would be this comic book right here. And to be honest with you, this story is not very good. It just doesn't do anything for me, you know? The art was so exciting, and I think everyone was so excited because Rob had created Cable and Deadpool and Domino and all these amazing characters that we loved at Marvel, that everyone was just so excited to see what he was going to put out over at Image, just like Jim Lee was with X-Men, just like Todd McFarlane was with Spider-Man. Same with Eric Larson on Spider-Man. And you get a lot of nice action in here. Beautiful splash page. Look at that. Isn't that sexy looking? I think so. And then boom, what? Oh, it's printed upside down. What? No. It's a flip book. What? And there you get Sentinel. You get other members of Youngblood. These guys would go on to become Team Youngblood. Let's check it out. Also drawn by Rob Liefeld. Story by Rob Liefeld and Hank Canals. I hope I pronounced that right, Hank. Hank's dialogue is just fine. The art is just fine. It's just we don't really get any sort of super introduction to these people. And that's kind of sad, and that's why I actually would not recommend you go pick up Youngblood #1, because there's no real plot going on. There's not any real character development that happens here. It's just, you know, oh, Saddam Hussein. See, Saddam Hussein. After only 4 months of U.S. involvement in the Israeli occupation, self-appointed leader Hassan Hussein was discovered this morning dead of an apparent suicide. The death of Hussein left rebels without a cause, resulting in a quick surrender to armed forces. Rumor that the Youngblood International Task Force was mobilized have not been confirmed. However, eyewitness reports support their presence overseas. Hussein apparently unpinned a grenade while holding it in his mouth. A note found with his personal belongings stated that he felt the end was near. Suicide is a common escape means something. We missed the rest of it. Run DMC's run. Pow, smash, kerplash. Okay, so anyways, yeah, this is Image Comics' very first comic, Youngblood #1. I don't like this cover as much as I like this cover. And what's interesting though is if you want to get into Youngblood, I recommend you start actually with about issue #5 and just get everything after that, because it does get pretty good. The art continues to be incredible. The art gets a lot better than this stuff you're seeing right here. Actually, believe it or not, I don't like all these lines on his face. Too much ink, just a little too much ink for me. I don't know if Danny Miki did this. No, Danny Miki did not do this. Rob Liefeld inked his own work here, and I actually like Danny Miki's work as an inker much more. No offense, Rob. I love you. I collect everything Rob Liefeld ever put out. Even if he just drew the cover, I will buy it. Why? I don't know. I think it's because of Rob's love of comic books in general, and just his desire to make really cool images that make you want to buy a comic book. But I'm not going to recommend this. I'm going to recommend Youngblood #5 and up, because the story starts to get solidified a lot better. You start to understand that like what they were was a governmental superhero team who became celebrities, and That's played on a lot more in later issues. You know, pick up 4 or 5 and you'll start to see what I mean. But really, this was really ahead of its time, because back in the 90s when this came out, this came out in 92. This is May of 92. So we had Cops and we had MTV's The Real World. Now, if you've never seen MTV's The Real World, all you need to download is The Real World Season 3, and you will be absolutely enamored with the chaos that they developed on that show. It's the season where they're in San Francisco living together. And if you were to fast forward, 25 years, because here we are 25 years later, 26 years later, this actually would make a great movie. And the concept of a superhero team being constantly followed by cameras, like you see on Keeping Up with the Kardashians, or Jersey Shore, or my personal favorite, The Osbournes. Only 2 seasons, but totally worth it. I think it would make for a great movie. I think that this comic book could be relaunched, and having them deal more with the trappings of celebrity than the issues that they deal with here, which is other supervillains and having to, fight for the government, which would be part of it. Don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting we have less action. What I'm suggesting is when we get some downtime, that maybe we can deal with the trappings of fame. But don't get this. Instead of this, forget this, okay? Get this. Team Youngblood #1. This was released a year and change later, September of 93 instead of May of 92. This is penciled by Chap Yape, and Norm Rapman does a great job with the inks in this too, and you can just see just by looking at it that there's a level of quality with Team Youngblood that you don't get in a lot of comic books nowadays. It's also got a lot of fun dynamic imagery. Choom! See, this is a Barack Obama gun. This is the Choom Gang gun. Kids, Google Choom Gang. You'll get it. Oh, Prophet, I don't know. We'll get into Prophet maybe sometime on one of these in the future, but check this out, This is just beautiful art. Beautiful art. Kind of, I don't know, what would you say? I would say it's very Jim Lee inspired, but with the flash of Rob Liefeld. These actually, I prefer Team Youngblood, a lot of their characters. I really liked Riptide. I didn't care about Cougar at all. I thought Photon was the coolest looking character ever. And as I went through the series, Masada became one of my favorite characters. She's Israeli, and she can grow in size like the Hulk does. And it's just a very interesting story, especially if you just look up Masada. I would recommend that you check out the Wikipedia for the location Masada, and you will hear an amazing story from Jewish history. And you're going to hear an amazing story in this because Geiger, or Giger, I'm not sure how Rob wanted us to pronounce it, but he's a pretty awesome looking villain. And he actually has a story in here, and some things are going on. And yes, this is a year and a half after Youngblood #1, but that doesn't matter. You don't need to read Youngblood 1, 2, 3, or 4. Just go ahead and skip up to #5 and pick those up, pick these up. What I'm saying to you is, for 20 bucks, 25 bucks in a back issue bin at 50 cents a piece, this comic is 100% worth it. You can give it to a kid, totally safe for a kid to read. Dutch is an awesome character, I think. Some people don't think so, but I'm gonna just skip through. There he is, dude. Doesn't he look awesome? Doesn't this look like what a comic book hero should look like? Cool Rob Liefeld guns, this awesome headset. Like, we've seen some wonky headsets in the past, but this is actually really awesome. He's buff, he's jacked up. He looks great there too. Maybe it's the color scheme. Maybe it's the little lines on the mask that I think are cool. I love the headset. I can't talk about it enough. The God of Thunder is coming. I know what you think. You think I'm going to turn the page and you're going to see something from Frank Miller, but you're not. You're going to see Supreme and Thor, I guess. Was never a big fan of Supreme, though I've heard that Alan Moore's run on Supreme at Rob's next company, Awesome Entertainment, which we will get into Awesome Entertainment in a future episode, because I was a big fan of the stuff Awesome Entertainment was putting out, but you'll come to learn that I'm quickly a big fan of anything Rob Liefeld's doing. Even if it doesn't have a good story, I don't care. I just like to look at the pictures. I'm a picture book reader. Anyways, though, you get this awesome Bloodlines article written by Rob, and you find out a lot about what's going on in his life, and it's just neat to actually be able to read these. And you're getting this moment in a man's life, in Rob Liefeld's life, where he was on top of the world, baby, top of the world. And so it's fun to just read these back to back to back. If you like to read, check out Bloodlines. If you like to read, check out many things. Deathmate Red. Well, I'll save you some time on that one in a future episode here. Pick up Team Youngblood number 1. Let me grab it again. Not that. Not Youngblood. Don't get confused. Don't let this cover trick you if you see this one. You want this one. Team Youngblood. And while this comic over here, this comic here totally did move the needle back in 1992. I mean, it sold 1 million copies. Could you imagine selling 1 million copies nowadays? You'd have to be Ethan Van Sciver or Diversity in Comics or Mitch Breitweiser to sell 1 million copies of a comic today. Back then, everybody was doing it, it seemed. Rob Liefeld was blowing it up. But pick up this. You'll like this better than this. If you want to check out Youngblood, pick up issue 5 through 10, I guess. I can't remember how long it ran, maybe 12 issues. There was a second volume. Don't worry, there's a second volume. There's been 5 or 6 volumes of Youngblood over the years. Some of them only lasted 2 issues, unfortunately. But Team Youngblood, there it is. I'm going to go give this to my cousin Ashton so that he can read it, because 6-year-olds need comics too. And I know I can trust Rob Liefeld with kids in my family. But anyway, tell me which version of Youngblood you liked better. Were you a Team Youngblood kind of guy? Were you a regular Youngblood kind of guy? Are you like me, where you wish we could have got rid of some of the crappy characters and put some of the cooler characters together in their own comic book? I wish that would have happened. Do you think Youngblood did get better after issue 5? Do you think Rob Liefeld's a total hack? Let me know in the comments below. Please like, please subscribe. I can't wait to talk to you guys again. If you have any questions for me that I don't answer in the comments below, tweet them to me directly at LeftHandLegit on Twitter. I cannot wait to share another awesome comic book with you guys. I'll see you next time on the Testosterone Overload.